This is a re-recording of the webinar we did today on February 2nd, 2017. It covers the basics of donations. We're going to do a second webinar on February 15th that will cover the fundraising parts of the RunSignUp platform. In today's agenda, we're going to go through a number of different simple donation alternatives. We'll look at donation levels. We'll look at options for donors to pay the processing fee. We'll look at manual donations. We'll look at communicating with donors. And we will also take a look at how you support multiple charities. The other thing to make note of is that we've got a great low 4% processing fee. And to answer one of the questions that was asked in the webinar, a $1 donation has a 4-cent processing fee associated with it. So there is no minimum amount or something like that. First off, some donation stats for you from last year. Last year we had about 14,000 races use us. And as you can see, over half of those turned on donations, and a little over 10% had donations and fundraising enabled. The other interesting thing from this chart is that if you look across each of these price ranges, they all average kind of in that $1 million to $2 million range. So the idea of these under $10 donations, they actually do add up, and what's also nice about them is that they engage with a much broader community. And the other kind of lesson learned from this is that don't be afraid to ask for larger donations. You may not get it, but you certainly won't get it if you don't ask for it. So when you think about your donation levels, maybe include something a little bit higher than what you were thinking about earlier. Somebody might be feeling generous. And here's just a few quotes from a number of happy customers that have used our donation platform. By using RunSignUp online registration and donation page, the race raised over $50,000 to help a local runner who had a stroke. We love stories like this. So many of our customers have these great stories, great charitable causes behind their races. And if we can do something to help increase the amount of donations that come your way, that's awesome. So let's go into some real demos here. One of the first things I want to cover that I don't think a lot of people know about, because if you look back here on the stats section, only 245 races have this turned on. It's the idea of having donation on the checkout page itself. So I've already gone through registration here, and I'm on the final page where I'm about to enter in my credit card information. There is an option to add a donation with just a checkbox right at the end. It's nice and simple, easy to do, and the way that you set this up is actually done on the charity page. So you have to create a charity to actually receive this fund, but and we'll cover that in a little bit. But all you have to do is just turn that on, and then pick which charity if you have multiple of them, and then enter an amount. You can make it $5 or you could make it $10 or whatever. At these low levels, you're probably going to get somewhere in the 10 to 20% adoption range. So people will check that box in that range is what we see with the races that use this. When you do donations on RunSignUp, what you'll see is that there's a nice bright donation button here right at the top. If you click donate, or if you click donate down here, it goes to the same place. You see a donation page, and this donation page can look a lot of different ways. This is a very simple one where it's just got a little logo here, and then an explanation of what it's about, and then just the text box to enter in, how much do you want to donate. You have the capability of saying anonymous or entering in some other some other name or something like that on here. This is another example of a race website that has a few more features turned on. So on this donation page, they've turned on this this donation thermometer or wheel. The closer they get to 100%, the closer this gets to completing the circle. They don't have donation levels like the last race, but they have also turned on this idea of a scrolling donor list. And this list is dynamic and real time. So if somebody made a $10 donation right now, we refresh this page, you'd see 157 donors and you'd see $1,846, $1,800.56. And you can put whatever you want in here, and you can obviously upload your own logo as part of the donation page. So let's go into the back end and kind of play around a little bit with creating our own donation page. So under donation and basic setup, that's the page that we're on. We're running on a test server, which is nice because I can do test transactions and process fake money and not have it cost me anything, which is nice. You can choose your donation processor, RunSignUp. We also support an integration with First Giving and CrowdRise, since some races use those platforms. This is in line with RunSignUp's kind of open platform approach where you can plug and play different pieces. The RunSignUp piece is what we're focusing on today. First thing you can do is figure out when you're going to start donations and when you're going to end donations. And you can put in a little text here that describes your charity or your donation process. You can enter in a goal amount, and you can decide to either show or not show a goal thermometer. That's that little wheel that we saw on the other page. You can either show your donor list or not show it. You can either show all donations or just focus on the top donations or fundraisers. The next section here is you can decide to have donation levels. Those last two didn't have any donation levels. Remember, they just had a box here. If you have donation levels, you can have as many as you want. So you can add additional ones. So you could add a $5 one and make it be low end or something like that. That probably sounds not right. So we'll remove that by hitting that little X button. And these show up as nice buttons on the page. We're going to leave off fundraisers today and cover that in February 15th. Offline payment instructions. So if you want to accept offline payments, this is a great chance for you to explain how to do that. So it's just type in whatever information you want to. I just put in send a check to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue because I figure our president might need something. And that's really all there is to a simple donation setup. What that looks like is it makes it look like this. So here's on the donation page. We have our donor wheel. We have all these different options. And then we have on behalf, and we've got the list of donors down here. Here's the offline payment instructions. So if I click on that, it just says whatever I typed into that thing. If I click it again, it goes away. So nice look and feel on that. And then there's this option to kind of further customize the donation options. So it's here that I can upload a custom image that would appear in that donation area. I also have kind of a default placement or always on top placement for that description. This description that I wrote up here, you'll see that that's also included on top up here. But if you look at, let's see, go back to this covenant, there's no description. The description is just down there. So that's what that option is for. So always on top. Donation tab test. So if you don't like the name donation, you can make it charitable contributions or whatever you want to make it here. You can also change that on behalf of text there. So you can make it in memory of or in support of, maybe you're doing a cancer survivor type of thing or something like that. This next section is about fundraisers, so we'll cover that separately. And then down here is how you can customize your confirmation email, cancellation emails, all this kind of stuff down here to customize that. So that kind of covers the simple part of the setup. Let's talk next about the processing fee. So processing fees are set under financial and pricing and processing fee type. You have control over donation processing fees, so you can make people pay for the race registration, but you can offer to pay for the donation, and that kind of makes you a nice guy, so that if somebody's donated $100, they're not seeing an extra $4 charge on their bill. But you can also add this option to give donors the option to pay the processing fee. And if you turn that on, then there's going to be this prompt. And we have a default prompt, but I customized it here. And where you see that default prompt is right here. So as soon as I decide that I want to make it anonymous or put it into some other category for on behalf of, I simply click here, and then what's going to happen if I hit continue, oops, I'm going to make it anonymous. I've got a $50 donation. I'm going to hit continue, and on this page you see that my processing fee is included there. If I were to go back and uncheck that and continue, you'd see that there was 0 processing fee on that. So, and then the race or the charity would pay that $2 of processing fee. Let's see, the next thing I want to talk about is communication methods. So we're still on the test server here, and Susan G. Komen Philadelphia race is actually now live on RunSignUp. If you're in Philadelphia in May, you should sign up for it. It's a great charity. Oh, you also get a treat. In the background, you probably hear the train going by. We work in an old mill building by a train track, 150-year-old building. It's pretty cool. So in the email system, what we did for them, or what we worked with them on, is this idea of managing the email settings. And in those email settings, we have a bunch of different options, but we can create a default email template. And so this makes all the emails kind of look and feel the same that are going out. And so if I'm going in and sending an email, there's 2 really nice features here. One is I can go and get all the current donors. I can also upload, say, like last year's donor list, and I could include those and exclude the current donors. So basically, I could keep sending email or reminders to people that donated last year, but exclude those people if they've already made a donation, so I don't become annoying to them. And you see that the email down here that I'm filling out, I can then come in here and I can create whatever content I want inside this nice email template, and I've got nice consistent buttons there. This is also editable in HTML, and that's how it was originally uploaded in the template. Their marketing company, designed this whole layout and made the colors exactly what they wanted them to be, and so forth. The next thing that I want to cover is the idea of having multiple charities for a race. this is really convenient. The Fifth Third River Bank Run is a large run out in Western Michigan each year, and they support 7 different charities. And what this does is it gives donors the ability to pick which charity they want to make a donation to. So I can select that charity, and then when I make my donation, that donation is going to go to that charity. Let's look at the back end of that. So the back end of that looks like this. So the race director is able to create and add charities. When they create or add a charity, they're able to put the information in themselves and customize a bunch of things like the charity's goal and so forth. They're also able to send an email, and this was already sent out, obviously. And it allows the charities to set up their own direct payment accounts. This is really powerful and popular because it kind of separates all the finances and allows RunSignUp to just take care of everything for you. So that means when people are signing up for your race, they're spending $50 for the race registration fee and adding a $25 donation. We take care of making sure that the $50 goes to the race and the $25 goes to the charity. If the race wants paid on a daily basis and the charity wants paid on a monthly basis, they can each have control over those settings themselves. The funds are not commingled. The charity has access to the reports to see what they're getting and so forth. So and who their donors were and all of that. So there's a lot of customization here that can take place if you have a race with a lot of charities. One of the things I talked about today in the webinar is the idea that having multiple charities, if you're just like a race, can be a very good thing for the race and for the charities. It has the potential to have some downside like dilution and so forth, but the upside is the fact that you're engaging as a race with multiple different charitable communities. And each of those communities can promote your race to their kind of community, and therefore it can, get additional participants in your race and spectators and people that feel a tie and a commitment to your race and its success. The one thing I forgot to do is show you some of the reporting on the back end for donations and as well as manual capabilities. So under reporting, there's some simple reporting that shows that there's been 6 donations, $545, and this becomes pretty useful after you get to a decent volume of people making donations. These charts in this table here. I can also go down and drill into and see who's made donations and how much and so forth. You can see that there's a couple of transactions here that don't have a transaction ID, and those were manual donations. So let's go into the manual system and look at the manual donations. So these are the manual donations, and it shows us all those that have been made. I can import multiple donations. So if I have a spreadsheet with a bunch of donations that have been made, I can import all those at once, or I can add them one at a time. So I can add Allison Bickle and a donation amount of $50, and she'll make it anonymous, and that's all I really need to do. And if you remember, my report on this page, on the donation page, this amount of money just went up by $50. So the nice thing about commingling your online and your manual donations is that you're able to communicate that and report it in a single place and kind of get more people to give to your cause, the more momentum that you have. So that's the way the simple reporting and the manual works. We'll get into donation pledges and fundraiser reports in a later webinar. Under donation reports, there are nice mechanisms here to kind of download and do year-over-year reporting, as well as doing searches for particular donors and so forth. There's also some nice email capabilities and reporting capabilities on the back end here that allow you to kind of get reports, kind of on a more frequent basis for the donations that were made over the past week or something like that, or to highlight donations that were above a certain amount. The final thing I guess I'll do is to wrap this up is to give you a little bit of a teaser for fundraising. So we have a lot of races that do fundraising. One of our biggest customers is the Semper Fi Fund. They basically manage charity bibs for different large races like Boston or Marine Corps Marathon. And they'll get so many charity bibs from a race, and then runners will say that they'll donate $500 or $1,000 or fundraise that amount of money. When you get into fundraising, you see people have individual fundraising pages. You can look at those pages. This comes as a pop-up, but there is a separate page for Sean, for example. Each fundraiser can control their own fundraising page. They get a nice little, they can set their own personal goal. They can, have their own personal list of donors, as well as, write up their own story of why they're doing this race and why it's a worthwhile cause for you to donate to. They can upload their own personal photo and so forth, as a number of these people have done. So that is going to take place on February 15th at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And please join us for that one, because it should be a lot of fun. Because there's a lot of nice capabilities in here that we've created as a result of working with great customers like Semper Fi Fund and Susan G. Komen and many others. Thank you.